Most people believe explaining themselves earns understanding. In reality, explanation often does the opposite. The moment you start justifying your words, your choices, or your position, you quietly signal uncertainty, not to yourself but to everyone watching. And people respond to that signal instantly, even if they don't consciously realize it. You may have noticed it before. You explain carefully, you add context, you clarify intentions, and instead of respect, you get more questions, more pushback, more evaluation. Then, one day, you stop explaining, and suddenly, people speak to you differently. They pause before responding. They challenge you less. They listen more closely. Nothing about you changed. The signal did. Human perception is not built around truth. It's built around cues, and explanation is a powerful cue, just not in the way most people think. When someone explains themselves excessively, it increases cognitive load for the listener. More words demand more evaluation. More evaluation invites judgment. And judgment shifts the interaction into a lower status dynamic, where your position feels open for negotiation. Silence does the opposite. Silence reduces information. Reduced information forces inference. And inference is where authority is formed. When you make a statement and stop, the listener fills in the gaps. They assume certainty. They assume confidence. They assume you have nothing to defend. This is authority inference, the brain's shortcut for deciding who leads and who adjusts. People don't follow explanations. They follow signals. Justification bias plays a quiet role here. When someone hears reasons, they subconsciously believe reasons were required. And if reasons were required, the decision must have been weak enough to need support. Strong positions don't sound defended. They sound finished. This is why power asymmetry shows up the moment you stop explaining. The interaction shifts from "convince me" to "interpret this." And interpretation places the listener in the reactive position. You may feel it emotionally before you understand it intellectually. A strange lightness appears when you stop over-clarifying. You say less, and conversations end sooner. You notice fewer interruptions, fewer follow-up challenges. At the same time, there's uncertainty. A moment of silence after you speak feels exposed, uncomfortable, almost risky. That discomfort is not weakness. It's recalibration. You are removing the scaffolding people used to climb onto your decisions. Most people explain because they want to be understood. But in social dynamics, being understood is not the same as being respected. Respect forms when others feel they are encountering certainty they must adjust to. Silence creates that pressure. From a behavioral standpoint, fewer words signal internal resolution. Internal resolution tells others there is no open loop to exploit. And without an opening, challenge loses momentum. Brevity increases perceived authority because it implies conclusion. It suggests the thinking has already happened elsewhere. When you stop defending, people stop attacking not out of kindness, but because the usual leverage disappears. Humans mirror certainty. When you present restraint, others unconsciously match it. When you withdraw justification, they withdraw interrogation. This is conversational dominance without force. Attention follows restraint. In any group, the person speaking least is often evaluated most carefully. Not because they are mysterious, but because they are not flooding the environment with cues that invite correction. Silence collapses unnecessary debate by removing friction points. And this is where treatment shifts. You begin to notice people adjusting their tone. Their questions become narrower. Their assumptions change. You are no longer processed as someone seeking approval, but as someone whose position exists independently. That shift is subtle, but irreversible once seen. The solution is not to become mute. It's to remove excess explanation and allow statements to stand. When asked why, answer once then stop. When stating a decision, state it without narrative. When challenged, pause before responding. When tempted to clarify, resist unless clarification is required. Silence after speaking is not emptiness, it is containment. Over-clarification is a habit built from social conditioning, not necessity. You can reduce it by ending sentences earlier, by removing emotional cushioning, by letting the other person carry the weight of interpretation. Calm finality projects control without confrontation. You are not holding the frame by force. You are holding it by not reopening it. As you do this, you'll notice something precise and uncomfortable. People begin to treat your words as settled facts rather than discussion starters. That is not arrogance. That is signal alignment. Authority does not come from speaking more clearly. It comes from speaking less and allowing certainty to be felt rather than explained. When you stop explaining yourself, you stop inviting negotiation. And when negotiation disappears, respect fills the space. Say less and let the shift happen.